What's up? You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. We're looking at the brand new record from Tyler, the Creator, entitled Call Me If You Get Lost. He put that out on June 25th. This is Tyler's sixth studio record. It's his follow-up to the Grammy Award-winning Igor. And dude, I've been trying to call you for like a week because every time I put my headphones on and listen to this thing, that's exactly what happens. This record is fascinating. It's so well produced. There's so many different genres and musical elements and just different nuances that make this thing fascinating to listen to every single time. For months down the road, you're going to be able to listen to this record and appreciate something new about it, which is why I'm absolutely in love with it. Tyler, the Creator, one to love to tell a story as well. This particular album is inspired by protagonist Tyler Baudelaire and his travels around the world. Baudelaire comes from French poet Charles Baudelaire, who was canceled in the mid-19th century for poetry that was deemed too vulgar, too obscene. And Tyler, certainly one that's familiar with controversy when it comes to that kind of stuff, accused of homophobia, misogyny over the years. And I get it to a certain degree. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he said, but one of the things I love about him artistically is that he is uncompromising. With that in mind, I will say that the nice thing about getting older, for most of us anyway, if you learn to figure it out, is that society and actually community specifically runs on this certain sense of altruism, this certain sense of respect. And Tyler, I feel like, has started to realize that. There's some things that he would do in the past where I feel like he's backing off, demonstrating, that understanding. And so kudos to him for that. I think that's awesome on his part. But I do love that he is still uncompromising. He still has a sharp tongue, and he's going to run it. And what I love about him is that he doesn't care. And I think that that is a model that more people need to take to heart with regards to be yourself, do your thing. Don't let outside influences dictate that. I mean, Tyler talks about that, that mindset, that philosophy. He's like, I don't care what people call me, specifically a certain word that I'm obviously not going to repeat. But what I will say is like, it's basically, I hate to get so personal right now, but it's basically the same thing as like people who in the past would, tuck their arms in their sleeves and wave their elbows at me. Like, you mongrel dog. Like, why would I ever let you dictate how I feel about my self-worth? It makes me think of Cat Williams and that joke about self-esteem. And it is hard sometimes. It definitely takes some practice and some, mental equanimity to build confidence and to build that self-esteem. But I think that as opposed to this whole just like socially ergonomic disaster of everybody crusading, trying to fix everybody else, man, just focus on building your own self-confidence, recognizing your own self-worth. Who cares if anybody else doesn't recognize it? Like, I don't think I'd be here in front of you talking about this stuff if I didn't recognize my own self-worth, if I didn't feel like I was totally awesome and that what I was doing here was worth people's time and had some value. Some people don't necessarily agree with that, and that's totally fine. They're entitled to that opinion. But I love Tyler and people like him for that model of just doing you. Be confident in yourself. And you know what? There's going to be haters. Even in 2021, there's going to be people that try to shut you down for racism, for it might be a sexist reason. It might be all of these things. People have shut me down. I can't tell you how many restaurants I had to go to get my first job. But you know what? There are enough kind people out there. And if you wade through the swamp, you're going to find them. But that's part of life. This instant gratification that we all see in society now, it's not real. Sometimes you got to wade through the trenches in the swamp to get what you want, more so than others. But you know what? If you keep throwing out those lines, if you keep just interacting with people, you're going to find those good people, and they're going to give you a chance. So anyways, Tyler on this thing, musically, stylistically, I love all the different genres that are coming into play here, especially jazz. A lot of people might have been concerned with this album coming out based on the pop influence of Igor, what would be going on, but it is very hip-hop influenced. And all those different musical genres that are being incorporated, it's not anything that's new. In fact, you see De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, bands that started 30 years ago really set the genre of this type of music into play. But Tyler is doing things in a way now. I think of contemporaries like Rap Ferreira, the MF Doom and Czarface album that came out this year. That collaboration was great, had a lot of things stylistically that were similar. But Tyler, where, maybe a lot of other artists are doing things like this, that it feels experimental, like it just feels natural and authentic for him. And this record, again, from start to finish, the 53-minute runtime comes from 2 tracks that are outstanding. The first being Sweet, I Thought You Wanted to Dance, is roughly 8 minutes. It starts off sounding like Prince for like the first 3-4 minutes, just this funky groove. I was blown away. It moves into this reggae element, and then has this sort of like chill R&B finish that builds nicely. And I like the first time I heard this thing, I had to I listened to it like 3 times in a row, just replay, because it's fascinating, especially the first part with Prince. The musicianship, again, his creativity, his songwriting, so badass. And it's one of those things, I was talking about overproduction earlier in the week with Doja Cat's record. These songs, they can be mixed, played around with for the club, given that vibe. But artistically, what is going on with this track especially is just phenomenal. The other one I wanted to talk about was the track Wilshire, which really plays out like an epic poem. It's just got this chill beat, this funky bass line that drives it intermittently. And Tyler is basically just rapping this poem for 8 minutes. It is something that Bob Dylan would honestly be really proud of and probably honestly dig. I hope he's heard it. If he has, I'm willing to bet this camera right in front of me that Bob Dylan would love this track. If he's heard it, he's probably digging the hell out of it. This whole thing, though, the continuity of the record from start to finish, the way the songs flow to one another is absolutely fabulous. The A-side definitely has the more conventional song structure built into it, to where the second half of the record has all this experimental song play. There's even some some word tracks. If you thought Tyler had a sharp tongue, you should listen to the song Mama Talk, because his mama can spit some fire. Ooh. And then there's also Blessed, which is a little interlude where, he's obviously talking about that new sense of perspective that comes with growing up and being an adult, the appreciation that you realize for, what's going on around you, community that you build. But to get to the first half of this record, tons of good stuff here. I really dig the songs Corso, Lemonhead, Lumberjack. There's just this fierce, thick element, a lot of it driven from the cadence in his voice that I absolutely love. Lemonhead, funny songwriting. I love that about him too. Song structure, conventional song structure is out the door. This song just has this elevator music coda that finishes it out for 20 seconds. It's kind of goofy, but excellent. Talking about some of those older influences, some of those jazzier hip-hop acts, I really hear a lot of Wu-Tang Clan in here, especially RZA, and then vocally Old Dirty Bastard. It's such a cool balance that he is playing with here. And, lyrically, he's still sharp. The song Manifesto especially, I'm absolutely loving it. Just try to cancel me. Just hating on this woke culture and how deconstructive it is. I really do feel like that there are honest conversations being addressed by the woke culture currently, but everybody's just trying to shout over one another that what genuinely needs to be discussed is not getting addressed. So hopefully everybody just stops shouting at each other on the internet, and we can actually look at these issues for what they are, important issues that deserve earnest dialogue. And again, loving Tyler, the Creator, for being that type of, creative influence of not dealing with just what I feel like a lot of people look at as simple fixes, and they're not. These are, a lot of issues that we're dealing with right now are deep-seated, and they require more than just, Manifesto opens up with him just, actually DJ Drama just kind of runs his mouth throughout this record, which is really funny. And on the opening that he talks about, this woman, white woman, saying that he needs to speak out on Twitter about it. It's like, get out of here with that. I don't think that type of dialogue is constructive. And I'm glad that someone like Tyler recognizes that and is, putting that message out there, because I think it's one of the ways that we actually, again, start to have earnest dialogue and fix this. This album is a masterpiece. Honestly, it's my favorite record of the year so far. If you don't want to watch my top 5 list, there will be 4 other records on there that are really solid that you might want to listen to and check out. But I hope you enjoy the hell out of this record for the months to come. Please like this review, subscribe to my channel, share this video as well, and tune into the live show on Sunday nights. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.